Welcome to another video. Today we're going to check out some neat developer tools to help speed up your workflow. And the first one we're going to be talking about is the context menu. Say you've created a component and you wanted to run some methods of it while you are in play mode. So for example, over here, I've got the announcer class. This component announces something on the screen. It uses a UI, and I'd like to test that UI. So one of the things we can do is create a context menu. So right now, I would have to bind it to something, but I have no way of actually testing the the feature. So let's jump in. This is very simply our announcer, but let's actually be able to, say, run some methods rather than having to bind it to another class. So something we can do here is use context menu and let's say test single announcement. Yep, thank you. Let's see, test single amount. Oh, perfect. Excellent. So we're going to announce something and we're going to queue up the message and we're going to display the message. So this is actually how you use the context menu. We're going to test multiple announcements. Yeah, perfect. This is actually working exactly how I want to. Yep, let's have 1, 2, 3, 4 announcements. This is a test. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fantastic. So, what does context menu actually do? Let's jump into Unity and have a look as to what actually happens. So, normally we would, like I said, we'd have to bind something, but straight from our announcer script, select this ellipsis, and we now have those two methods that we just created as a selection here because we added the context menu attribute. So let's test it. Test single. This is a test. Test multiple announcements. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Perfect. So nice and simple. You can now add the context menu to any method, even if it is private, for your components to actually test out the functionality in game without having to then set up your player and then you then have to get this as the singleton instance and then call it. You don't have to do anything like that. You can pretty much test it straight away in game. So that is one. The other one we want to talk about is OnValidate. So OnValidate is very useful when you want to make sure your inspector items work as expected. So this test group, we have just this list of scenes that we have in this scriptable object, and we want to show a debug message just to indicate to us as developers, hey, you know what? You should not be using it like this, or you should be using it in a way that you are warned about uh, a combination of things that shouldn't or should be happening together. And I'll explain what that means exactly. So over here, we are setting one of these scenes as an active scene. We can only have one active scene in Unity, even when you additively add the scenes. So what happens is that I've set up where if we select more than a single active scene, so right now this is one, and we set this as the extra active scene, we can see here that it has spit out a warning for us to say that, hey, test group, multiple scenes marked as active only the last one will be used. So this is an indicator for us that we have created to say that, hey, because we have now ticked this, something's up. So set as active saying, let's untick it, and we can see there's no more errors incrementing. Let's try doing that again. Bam, we're up to 2, 3, 4. So you can see that this, by the way, the reason we are showing 4 is because we have a collapse. We can actually see what it looks like otherwise. You can see we still have multiple active, no longer have multiple active. And it's useful to just clear in between that you want to see, okay, what is actually happening. So there we have 1, there we have 2, and we have a new one. So how do we actually use OnValidate? So OnValidate is a Unity event that is exposed for us to hook into. It validates. Let's see if there's actually something it's actually going to tell us. It's the only function that Unity calls when the script is loaded or a value changes in the inspector. So one of the important things is that sometimes you may say you wanted an item to appear or disappear on OnValidate. What happens is that, especially when we're working with the inspector, there is an inspector refresh that happens when we do change a value, and we want to just be aware that the OnValidate will be performed before the refresh. So if a value is supposed to be not there, so you were supposed to clear a value when something happens, it will clear the value and you'll never see the inspector change because it has done all the logic and performed everything behind the scenes before the redraw of the inspector. So just be very aware of that. So what do we actually have here? We are saying that, hey, OnValidate, remember those active scenes? We're going to just find all the active scenes in this list, the list that we saw there in Unity. We're going to just get all the active scenes because that is one of the scene data elements, that Boolean value. And we're going to see that, hey, is there more than one selected? If there is, then it just spits out our debug log for developers like you and I to actually understand what are we doing or how are we meant to use this. It is very good when you have a bit more complex projects, and especially when you're working as a team with others, you get to give them the information they need when you create the systems and someone else picks it up. So not only do you now understand, but when someone that has never used it picks it up, they will be able to understand what they can and cannot do or shouldn't do when configuring with the inspector. So that's what OnValidate is. You can use it as a hook. So you are setting up your inspector elements correctly for everyone, and everyone else understands that. So that's all there is. Context menu and OnValidate. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, feel free to leave a comment. If you'd like to see certain content, I'm more than open to talking about it. Please feel free to reach out in the comments section below. Thank you very much.